Like me, 2 years ago, you've made the decision to trade in the white picket fence for RV life. And also, like me, you're all in, no matter what. But hopefully, you're here to actually do the one thing that I didn't do, and that's to get actual advice from an experienced RVer on making that decision actually come to life the easiest way possible. So in this video, I'm going to share that advice with you. And I can tell you from experience, this one singular piece of advice will absolutely make your transition to RV life a million times easier. Let's start out by putting our imagination caps on, just for a minute. Think of your RV as a backpack. Every single time that you buy something new, it's like adding a rock to that backpack. And at first, a few little rocks don't seem like such a big deal. You barely even notice them. But over time, every single rock starts to slow you down, and it makes the journey exhausting. And it probably makes you start wondering if it's worth carrying the backpack at all. Pretty soon, you're actually considering leaving it on the side of the trail for some other poor soul to find. And you're abandoning those dreams of making that giant smokeless fire pit that you thought you needed. That rock in real life is the extra gadget, the cute new outfit, or the start of that luxury catnasium from Mr. Pibbles. They all seem small at first, but each one adds weight that makes you start saying some really mean things about that dude who talked you into building that fire pit in the first place. And honestly, he does not deserve to be called those things. He was only trying to help. So first things first, let's talk about the most valuable asset that you have in an RV, space. And trust me, space becomes precious when you realize just how much of it you actually don't have. It's like trying to pack a suitcase for a weekend, but that weekend lasts forever. While you're holding up that brand new must-have kitchen gadget, ask yourself, do I really need a mini quesadilla maker on the road? Well, in my experience, the answer is always going to be no. Well, unless you're planning to run a roadside taco stand. In an RV, every inch is golden treasure, and each item has to be worth the price of admission. So before you add something new to your already decent-sized collection of stuff, just stop for a second and ask yourself, is this thing a need, or is it just a want disguised as a totally maybe one day need? And here's where the magic of keeping it simple really does come in. Once you start prioritizing space, you also realize that fewer things don't just give you more room, they actually give you freedom to enjoy the journey. And this is where RV life shines. Standing in a gorgeous national park, breathing in that fresh air, just vibing, with no cluttered to-do list calling you back. Meanwhile, in a fully loaded RV, someone else is off organizing a spice rack or untangling a drawer of 15 phone chargers. We've all been there, right? RV life teaches you to keep things simple. Every item left behind means one less thing to clean, organize, or fish out from under the sofa cushions at 3 a.m. because that's a storage space in an RV. Living lighter means you can skip the chores and head straight to the good stuff, like figuring out how to fit a 10-minute shower into a 3-minute water tank. Now that, my friends, is adventure. Now this brings me to a real RV life hack. Choosing between adding something to your RV or adding an adventure to your life. And here's what I mean. Say you have $50 in hand. It could go toward that fancy space-saving Insta-Whisk Plus 9000 with 3 blade attachments and a Bluetooth speaker, because who doesn't want a whisk that plays 80s classics? Or you could fill up the tank and drive somewhere amazing. And that's the magic question. In RV life, every dollar counts, and it's often better spent on experiences than on things. You could be telling stories about your new Wi-Fi enabled pasta spoon. Some people would love to hear about that. But personally, I'd much rather be telling stories about that time that I went to this really cute sushi joint and had the best lobster roll I've ever had while watching the sunset over the ocean. My rule of thumb is, if it won't add memories, it's probably not worth the money or the space. And speaking of adding memories, RV life is all about staying flexible and ready for the unexpected. But let's be honest, having a travel-ready, nimble RV only works when you're not carrying everything but the kitchen sink. For example, say there's a spontaneous biggest ball of twine festival in the next town over. It's literally just down the road. It's close enough that you can almost smell the funnel cakes. But if you're loaded down with enough stuff that just packing it away feels like it's going to be a workout, you're going to be spending half that festival going time just Jenga stacking the stuff that you have just to get on the road. The truth is, RV life works best when you can be as light and as nimble as a ninja, packing literally only what you need to keep the wheels rolling without turning your RV into a mobile storage unit. After all, the open road is way more fun when it's actually easy to get on it. Which brings me to one of the biggest lessons I learned. The lighter you pack, the lighter you feel, mentally and physically. My obsession with socks taught me that sometimes less really is truly more. When I started RV life, I somehow convinced myself that I needed, about 30 pairs of socks, at least one for every possible weather condition or fashion crisis. 6 months later, I realized I've been wearing the same 4 pairs of socks on rotation, and I literally just kept moving the rest around like they were part of a traveling museum exhibit. My point is, every single item you bring has a cost, not just in space, but in mental energy as well. Less stuff means less to worry about, less to organize, and definitely less to lose. The lighter you travel, the freer you feel. Opening those RV cupboards, and instead of seeing a Jenga tower of Tupperware, you find only the things that you need, is magic. And that's the simplicity that lets you truly focus on what matters, the journey itself. So here's the bottom line. When it comes to RV life, try to remember that backpack you're carrying. Every rock you add doesn't just weigh you down physically, it takes up space in your mind. It takes up your energy, and eventually it'll take up that shoebox of a closet that you're moving into. I know the temptation to buy just one more thing is so strong. Believe me, I get it. But here's the thing. Not buying stuff isn't just about saving space. It's about saving cash too. Every dollar you don't spend on that emergency fondue set or the solar-powered pancake flipper, it's another dollar that you can save for the next adventure. Think of it like this. Every time you resist buying something, you're basically earning yourself a cup of coffee in the next town, a night at a brand new great campground, or just fuel for another leg of your journey. And here's the number one best piece of advice that I really wish I had listened to in the beginning. Stop buying stuff. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Some of those rocks are really shiny and pretty. But if you want to enjoy the journey without dragging a mountain of just in case behind you, put the credit card back in the wallet, save the cash for that super cute sushi restaurant on the beach in Florida, and leave the rocks on the mountain. And hey, if you're wondering what some of the items are that actually did make the cut for my RV life, then check out this video on the essentials that I would not dream of hitting the road without. These are some of the must-haves that have earned their spot in my tiny home on wheels. I'd wager a guess that it will also help you understand what your own needs are, and maybe even figure out some of the wants that you can actually live without. Realistically, in the end, RV life is not just about the journey itself. It's also about creating a lifestyle in your new home on wheels. So until next time, I'll see you later.